Host family from hell. Hey everybody, hope all is good. I've decided to tell this story today because I know a lot of people may have had similar experience with weird or creepy host families and know how uncomfortable and awkward it is. This is a tad bit lengthy. So basically, some of my classmates in high school and I, along with some teachers, went on a month long trip around Europe to study. And as we only spent 1 week in each city, we stayed with host families. The trip had been going amazing, and my friend and I, who had chosen to stay together in our accommodation, had a really good experience with the old lady that we stayed with for the first part of the trip. So we were really excited to meet our next host. We had been encouraged to write an email to each of our hosts a week before we left home so that they could get to know us and we could get to know them, which helped making our first interactions not awkward. However, I had sent a really nice email to the father of this family, let's call him John, and he never replied. I didn't think much of it. He probably hadn't seen it or maybe just didn't want to answer, which is totally valid. But just when we got off the plane, I got an email from him which merely said, "Hello, let me know when you get on the bus." I thought it was a bit cold. I do tend to be a bit overly friendly sometimes as a result of being extremely socially awkward. So I figured it was probably just me being too intense or something. A cab took us to their house and we were greeted with the strongest glare I had ever experienced. Again, me being overly friendly, I just kept saying hi and thanking him for everything and whatnot, but he didn't even say anything. He just kept glaring at us and then at the taxi driver. Help. Until the cab left and he just opened the door and let us inside. Before he even said hi or even showed us around the house or anything, he made us stay in the narrow entrance and began telling us the rules of the house. Which is normal, but the way he said it, it was very intimidating. Basically, stating that we had to take extreme care of his house or we'd have to pay for anything and everything we damaged. Yeah, okay, I get it. Which again, valid, but he didn't stop glaring at us. Like we had already broken something. Oh, he was ready. He ordered us to take our shoes off and told us our room was on the third floor. Then left, so we had to carry our suitcases up the very, very tiny and narrow stairs. I imagine it. Oof. Not even knowing where we were going because we obviously didn't know the house and he didn't even show us the way. But whatever we thought, it's probably just the awkward introductions. But the awkwardness had only just started. We were called down for dinner and sat waiting whilst he cooked for us and his daughters. He asked which one of us was vegetarian. That's me. After explaining how stupid and unhealthy I was for not eating meat, sir, please, and how being a vegetarian will take 10 years of my life, he handed me a little bowl of literally 5 pieces of very small lettuce leaves. Oh my god. Again, kind of weird, but we wouldn't even have dinner at their house since the school where we were exchanging into covered our meals. Something I'm still so glad about it, so it was fine. Yeah, be petty, bro. Like, that's fine. He started asking really specific private questions like, how much money have you brought, bro? What? Where do you keep it so you don't lose it? And do you come from rich families? Which made us very uncomfortable. So we just said we didn't know. So we just said we didn't know and tried to change the subject. He also ordered us to never speak Spanish, our mother language, whenever we were there, even if we were alone, inside or outside the house, which obviously he didn't do because we speak Spanish. It's not like we have trouble speaking English, but it was ridiculous when we were literally talking alone. But whenever he'd hear us talking Spanish in our room, which I still don't know how he did, he'd come up to scold us for not conversing in English. Yes, he scolded us. We also later learned that his wife suffered from a disease. I'm not going to go into detail for privacy reason, and we didn't hear her around much. That night, my friend took a shower first, then me. And whilst I was getting dressed in the bathroom, he came into our rooms and started talking to us and asking us other questions about us. It was very uncomfortable because I was still in the bathroom and he kept coming near the door to ask me stuff and then turning back to talk to my friend. But after a while, he left and it was fine. We discussed that it was really weird and we were really worried about the money questions because it was his own house and he could easily just come into the room in the middle of the night, open our suitcase, and do whatever he pleased. Next morning, we got up early and came down for breakfast. To be honest, we had kind of high expectation because our last host was absolutely the best. So we were expecting that he would at least have a slice of bread for us. Yeah, he didn't. But that's not the bad part. Whilst the whole family was eating at the table, he told us to just go through all the cabinets and pantry, that there will surely be something to eat. I honestly didn't feel comfortable with raiding this family's kitchen while they were just staring at me. My friend grabbed a banana because she didn't know what to do. And I said I wasn't hungry, so we just left and decided to not longer have breakfast at their house because it was too awkward. And I know you must be thinking I am overreacting, but first of all, I didn't know these people and it was so uncomfortable. Besides, my social anxiety didn't help at all and I couldn't bear being there. I can't bear even when I'm reading this. Like, As I said, since we had dinner at school, we didn't really spend a lot of time with them. We really only showered and slept there, and that was it. But somehow, in the little time we were in the house, he always found a way to make us feel more and more out of place. We had to let him know via text when we were coming home, and I'd always be polite but always also friendly. So I just say, "Hi John, we are 5 minutes away." Always with a little exclamation mark to seem nice, I guess. But the second night we arrived home, and as we went through the front door, he came stomping his way towards us, absolutely furious, like he was about to punch a wall. He started yelling at me, telling me to never ever text him or any adult like that again. Wow. I was so incredibly confused and scared, like what did I even send to him? He pulled out his phone and made me read out loud that message. He said normal people do not text like that it was very disrespectful, and proceed to show the text to everyone around the house and asking them what they thought of this and if anyone had ever texted them like this. He was so angry about an exclamation mark. Oh my god. I was livid inside, like absolutely on the verge of tears and leaving the house. I just said sorry and went to our room. He then came up smiling like nothing had happened and had the absolutely audacity to ask, "Have you brought any gift for us?" Why? Like, who are you? We had bought them a beautiful picture frame and lots of sweets from our country. We had spent a lot of money on them. We handed it out to him, and he was acting like a little kid at Christmas. However, when he opened them, he looked at them like we had given him a bag of trash. "This is it? What did you want? Gold and crystals?" he asked, frowning. "I thought it was gonna be something better. Haha. I figure since we are letting us stay in our home, but I guess it's fine, thanks." He left the room disappointed. We continued to have really bad encounters with him, telling us off like we were his daughters that he could just yell at like it was nothing. At night, we'd hear screaming, fighting, banging, crying. My friend wanted to contact the accommodation services to ask for a host switch because we were truly having a really horrible time running away from our host to avoid another interaction. But I refused to. I know, dumb. Because firstly, I was too shy, scared of what could happen when we told him we were leaving for another home. And also, I felt really, really bad because of his wife, and I didn't want to give the family a hard time when we were probably already struggling with medical care and hosting was their only income. Bro. She was mad at me for a bit, but she thought the same as I did, as badly as we wanted to leave, so we decided to suck it up. Oh my god, this is long. We also had gotten lost at some point while we were on the night bus back home. Luckily, there was a teacher from the school who we knew and she walked us home. She asked who we were staying with, and we told her we were staying with John and mentioned it was a bit uncomfortable there. Her face changed a little bit from happy to a kind of worried. Yeah, I know him. We've been told that he's a bit special. And yet you let him host people. But that's that's it really. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Yeah, try to spend the night at the madhouse and you tell me about it. When we told John about us getting lost and the teacher helping us, he seemed so interested in a creepy way. He said he knew her and asked how she was. And the creepiest part, he asked us if we knew where she lived. Yikes, like at least 2 or 3 times. We had seen her house, but we just told him no because it was very, very weird. The last full day there, he had told us that he probably wouldn't be home when we arrived since he mentioned he was meeting a friend or something, but that he would arrive no longer than 10 minutes after we did. We arrived home that night, and as he'd said, he wasn't home. That this time the only one home was his wife. It was our first time getting to chat with her only. She was so nice. She seemed genuinely like the only sane person there. We talked for a while actually, and then we thanked her profusely for everything, even though your husband is our nightmare, and told her she had a very beautiful family. Then she stopped smiling and said, "You think so?" "I don't think so, haha, but thank you." And then it was all silence. For about 30 seconds, neither of us knew what to respond to that. So after a bit, we just nervously laughed and said goodnight. John didn't return until almost midnight. He asked us if we had any laundry to do. I did some of my clothes I had been wearing for a week and really needed to be washed, but then he said that he will do it and wouldn't let me go and help or do it myself. And honestly, that might be a reach, but I really didn't want to give him my clothes for some reason. It just felt wrong. Yeah, it was too nice all of a sudden. So I ended up declining, saying I remember that I actually had washed them, which I know I wasn't believable, but there was no way I was giving him my stuff. He was going to steal your panties, weird fuck. He kept insisting, asking over and over if I was sure, and I said, "Yes, you weird fuck." No, not that. Yes. The next morning, we were so excited to finally be able to leave that house after a week that felt more like a month. We had our things ready and took our stuff down the stairs to the main entrance, waiting for the cab to pick us up. Then he came downstairs and started to make small talk with us. Uh-oh. He kept looking out for the window over and over again, like he was looking for something. We thanked him for the hospitality, which wasn't provided, but we gotta be polite, I guess. And he started rambling about how he loved hosting students, that he had been doing this for like 10 years, oh my god, and stuff like that. And then he started saying weird stuff like, but you have to be careful because you don't know who you could be staying with. There's some crazy people, you know. I swear to God, I was about to escape, getting ready to run when the cab arrived. And he started suddenly acting super happy and nice, like we had the greatest relationship. He hugged my friend and then went to hug me. I reluctantly hugging him back for a second, and then went on the door. Out the door. As soon as I stepped out of the house, he slammed the door shut so loudly even the cab driver looked scared. He glared at us through the little window while we got in the cab and drove off. I've never been so relieved in my life. It was like a weight pulled off of my shoulders. And you bet I blocked that number so quick, glad that I will never have to see him again in my life. I understand that families have their issues, but that man was absolutely terrifying. Even though I'm really thankful I at least had a place to shower and sleep for a week. The bar was so low. I'm sorry for anyone that had to stay with him and over his 10 years of hosting or may have to in the future. Don't be like me. If you feel uncomfortable, leave. No one is gonna be mad at you. So if they are, fuck them. I'm lucky nothing more than the overall weirdness and verbal abuse happened to me. But there's tons of cases in which the stories take a much darker turn. Better safe than sorry. Yeah, better safe than sorry. If you like how I narrated this beautiful story, please like and subscribe. And I hope you learned something for this story from this story. See you next time, creepers. Bye. Shh.